What's going on, YouTube? We're back with Shades, and we're continuing our Let's Play of Katawa Shoujo. Last time we left off, we came back to school, life is normal, we're in a beautiful relationship with, Lily, and now, as I predicted, well, not really predicted, as I assumed, and this isn't really like a confirmation, but I'm assuming that we are starting to get to the very sad portion of this one playthrough, because it was bound to happen, and this time I don't think it's gonna be particularly about Lily like doing something. I think it's gonna be on Hisao's end this time, because remember, if you watched my Emmy playthrough, which I sincerely hope you did, because that's season 1 of Katawa Shoujo. This is season 2. With Emmy, and I'm assuming you've watched this before, watch that playthrough first, so if you haven't, go watch it. But, with Emmy, she, like, literally kept us at an emotional distance because she was trying to protect herself, and that kind of ruined this relationship in a way. But this one, but with Lily, she's trying to keep us as close as possible. Anyway, let's get going before I start rambling. I stand unmoving in front of the door to the nurse's office for what feels like at least a dozen minutes or so. It's not like I never entered the small beige room before, nor is it because of any other feeling of childlike anxiety over the visit. Maybe it's because of the nurse's office is akin to a confessional, an admission that my body is flawed. The knowledge that such a fact is kept entirely confidential between the nurse and me hardly lessens that feeling. Remembering that the bell to signal the end of lunch break will sound soon, I give a sigh and open the door. The burden will stay with me just this while longer. Well now, if it isn't Nakai, good to see you. Or bad, I guess, considering that I'm a nurse. He gives a small laugh, amused at his little joke. I find that his humor lacking and somewhat off, but the fact that he can make light of such a situation is perhaps comforting, or at least distracting. His brief episode of entertainment over, he claps his hands together and gets down to business. I take a seat as he gestures for me to do so. I wish the classrooms had seats this comfortable. I can feel my mind wandering as my eyes quickly scan the room, distracted by all the small changes since the last time I came. Alrighty, so what brings you here? I haven't seen you so often, so I assume your health's been good so far? Well, mostly. I see. His smile drops as I trail off. I feel slightly guilty about it. It's these moments where I can rationally call myself normal that makes me so reluctant to see the nurse. They're an admission that I'm different from everyone else. While I was on a trip during the long weekend, I had a few problems with my heart. He hums very seriously and nods as he does so, urging me to go on. I think it was, as I was walking a fairly long distance. I think right term before it is a heart flutter. I suddenly went weak at the knees and felt almost like I was having a small heart attack, but it passed in about half a minute. Even afterward, though, I felt pretty fatigued and nauseous. Not good at all. That was how many days ago exactly? Did you do anything unusual aside from exerting yourself before the episode? Were you taking your medication properly? The nurse switches from an awkward jokester to a serious health professional mode, rattling off questions, making notes, and calling up stuff on his computer. I tell him about my forgetting to take my pills that morning and the preceding evening. It was a stupid thing to do, but I can't change anything about it now, except answer honestly and bite the bullet. His seriousness evolves into a frown, and the talk evolves into an instant checkup. I finish buttoning up my shirt and again get motioned into a seat in front of the nurse. Is this the first heart problem you've had since coming to Yamaku? I've had short pains in my chest before, just a couple of times, but they are more discomfort than anything like this. He leans back in his chair, briefly resembling a white coat Poirot, as he mulls over the mysterious case of the heart flutter. Moving his lips side to side to show he's thinking, his non-existent mustache wiggling, he eventually comes to a conclusion. Well, you survived it. That's always a plus on the plus side. I blink at this one, then notice the nurse wearing his got you face. It's actually somewhat reassuring. I don't think he would crack jokes if things were really serious, so I keep silent and take my lumps. I'll have a talk with your doctor, but right now I suspect it's simply due to physical exertion. Have you been keeping up with regular light exercise like I directed you to? I make sure to walk a reasonable amount every day. It's usually enough to work up a bit of a sweat, but then again I'm not really as fit as I used to be. That should be enough, then. The main thing is to keep in mind is to do regular low-stress exercise, not short bursts of sprinting and such. I understand. Since leaving the hospital, I've been a lot more focused on my studies, partly to take my mind off not being able to do more physical things. It's good to hear you're coping well. Sudden lifestyle changes can be hard at the best of times, so I'm pleased to hear that you sound like you have everything in order. Almost everything, that is. Nevertheless, I want to keep a close eye on you for a while, just for observation's sake, just to make sure things aren't going downhill, you understand. That's something I didn't really want to hear. Since coming to Yamaku, all I've wanted to do is live a normal life as possible. Observation was one of the few words that I came to hate during most of my hospital stay. For so long, I felt as if I could just have walked straight out of the hospital doors. If not for that observation the doctors wanted so dearly. Sure, should I come in more often? He checks the calendar next to his computer, which seems to inflict on him a nasty sense of a furrowed brow. He spins back to me after that. The summer holidays are a bit of a pain considering the timing. I'll check with your doctor to try and get a better handle on the situation and see how he wants to proceed, but I think you should take things slowly and carefully for now. What you're describing doesn't immediately sound like a recurring event, but I want her to slow down for a bit for a while, just to make sure. What should I do for today? He looks over my shoulder at a clock hanging over the door. I'd never have noticed it if I hadn't followed his gaze. It's nearly time for school to be over, so I may as well just leave early. He gives me a sly wink, making sure that I understand he's doing me a favor. Well, nurse's orders, thanks. That's what I'm here for, after all. I know you might not want to hear this, but you can't ignore your condition. Don't hesitate to see me if you have any further problems, or if you just have anything you want to ask. Bye. He spins around and gets back to typing on his computer in front of him. I suppose I'll just read before waiting for Lily by the gate, considering I don't have much else to do. Even as I leave, his words echo in my mind. My condition isn't something as limiting as many of the others in Yamaku, and I don't want to burden Lily with thinking about it. Even if I just live life normally and avoid any short, sharp shocks, I should be okay. I won't let my condition rule me. I mean, that's good, but in all honesty, he should have it in the back of his mind. From what I can tell, for the most part, Hisa always tries to ignore the fact that he has a heart condition. And for the most part, yeah, that's okay, but, he should, in essence, try his best to make sure that, he's keeping up to date, and, keeping it in the back of your mind does help, but completely ignoring it, you could often forget to take your medicine, forget to keep in your routine, and, things like that. More often than not, it's best not to ignore a condition. Anyway, let's keep going. Lily comes into view as soon after... Sorry, I got burp coming. Right before this, I'm so sorry. Lily comes into view soon after the bell rings, heralding the end of the school day ring out. I read that wrong. She says farewell to a number of her classmates headed in the other direction, before beginning her weekly trip to the convenience store. Afternoon, Lily. The immediate warm smile and relaxed demeanor she assumes upon noticing my presence are unexpectedly welcome. Hello, Hisao. Good afternoon to you, too. She hesitates for a second, but eventually deigns to tilt her face forward and close her eyes. My lips meet hers with a measure of slight trepidation before we move off hand in hand. Cute! Cuties! The fact that we're so close in height is somewhat useful at times, there being no need for either of us to turn our head upwards nor downwards in order to meet the others. Oh yeah, with Emi, she's significantly shorter than Hisao. Sorry, taking a drink of water. And I think Lily's the only one who's close to Hisao's height. I think she's taller than him, actually. It doesn't take much time to leave the noise of the other students far behind us. The tapping of Lily's cane in her free hand, the only sound to be heard. Silence, blissful silence, is all that greets us while we walk slowly in the setting sun's light. I think I'm coming to really like this town. The huge green, hilly expanse, the trees everywhere, that somewhat rustic little buildings. Expanse! What kind of high school student says expanse? So, you've come to appreciate the tranquility of it as well. I think so. I came from a metropolitan city near Tokyo, so the quiet of this town really alienated me when I first arrived. After a while, it became really nice, though. I think I prefer it to the hustle and bustle of my home city now. While I preferred the quiet of such rural... God damn it! While I preferred the quiet of such a rural town even when I first arrived, I suppose I had the advantage of growing up in a quiet area before I came. Hanako said the surroundings are very pretty too. Lily may say such a thing quite easily, but each time she mentions how others describe sights around her as as beautiful or pretty, I feel a little put off. I notice her expression becoming one of anticipation for some question or another. She always had a good sense for when somebody's not saying something that's on their mind, so I may as well speak up. I was kind of wondering, how to put this. Do you ever regret that you can't see what things look like for yourself? It's just something I've been thinking about. She thinks carefully for a time. Do you ever regret that you can't hear people whispering on the other side of the room? I can only speak for myself, but the fact that I can't see is the only way I've ever experienced life. Just as I cannot do something you can't do something that I'm capable of. The fact that the world is made up for those who are sighted can be a pain sometimes, but there are many, many people who saw first more than I because of the way the world is. That does make sense, but still, it just feels kind of bad to describe something that you can't experience to you. She tilts her head quizzically, as if I just said something that makes very little sense at all. But I can experience it. You just said yourself that you like this area because of the way surroundings are. I like this area for the very same reason. Thanks to the fact that this is a small rustic town surrounded by trees, it gives some peace and quiet from the din at school and the bustle, not to mention the smells of the city. I suppose it would also be much like the home she shared with Akira as well. Her outlook on it seems pretty sensible, and I'm not surprised that she's got a much better handle on her particular condition than I do on mine. Just like how her coming from a location somewhat similar to Yamaku's surroundings led her become more acclimatized in a shorter time, being born blind affected her stance, by her own admission. I should stop being so annoyed with myself over it, but I can't shake the feeling that I've depended on Lily far too much, given the circumstances most have had to deal with in Yamaku. That makes a lot of sense. You're pretty good at explaining, as always. Come to think of it, where's Hanako anyway? She was with us for lunch. It seems she's busy studying. The exams are far from over, and she said she wants to do better this year than the last. Well, I admire her work ethic. She's really been trying to give us a lot of room alone recently. She's that type of person, I think. The kind that puts others' needs above her own at every chance. She's a sweet girl, even though so much has hurt her in the past. I don't know. I feel like it's only now, when she's less close to me than ever, that she's truly finding herself. It was thanks to you that she began to become more confident after all, not me. I take my hand from hers and gently place it on her head. The important thing is that you were there for her. I can't even imagine what she'd be like without having found someone like you. That much became obvious while you were in Scotland. We're all still friends, so we've just gotta have faith in her. I think she'll become a good person, and that much is thanks to you being there for her when she most needed it, just as you were there for me. Makes me feel a bit childish when you sound so wise. Well, I try. Are you doing anything on the weekend, by any chance? Nothing that comes to mind. Why? Then how about a date on Sunday? It'll be something to do besides exam preparation. Countering my rapidly beating heart, she simply smiles and nods. That would be lovely. Where would you like to go? Her face suddenly changes to one of disapproval. You can't do that, Hisao. That's cheating. Do what? A gentleman should never ask a lady where to have a date. Oh. Her smile quickly comes back, assuring me that she's far from serious. Don't worry about it. I'll think about where we could go. I'll leave that to you then. I promise to decide on the next date, though. With our plans for the weekend made, the rest of the walk down the hill continues in silence. The prospect of that lasting for any length of time, however, is shattered as I catch sight of a familiar figure waiting for us, her hand held high. Ah! It's Akira! Oh yeah, because my immense curiosity to figure out if Akira is dating Hideki was extremely high. I mean, it didn't even need to be high. I overhyped it so hard, but they're not. They're just cousins. We never meet Akira's boyfriend, and I'm really upset because I thought they were dating. I don't care if they're cousins. They look really cute together. I'm sorry, and it's Japan, so dating your cousin's not exactly awful. I mean, they do that a lot. At least in like culturally, it's happened a lot. I don't get it, but it happens. Yo! Oh. Why is Akira here? Thank you, please come again. The change in temperature as I step outside from the convenience store sends a chill up my spine. It feels like summer's starting to wind down. Looking to my side, the same feeling seems to affect Lily as well, though unlike me, she doesn't manage to hide the fact. Something I didn't realize at first was how physically delicate she is, even compared to the likes of Hanako. If I had to describe her, I'd say that she reminds me of a China doll. Oh, what the hell. Akira walks up behind her and gives a couple of hard pats on her shoulder, much to Lily's consternation. For a minute, she looks as envious of my status as an only child as I am of their close relationship. They talk between themselves for a few moments as I sort out my bags. Their voice is too low for me to catch, but eventually they break off as we begin to walk back to school. It feels too good to be out of that damned office. You kids don't know how good you have it here. Kids. You too, then. Kids grow up so fast nowadays. You're not old enough to say that. I don't know. Being around Hideki makes you feel damn old. He's so precocious. He reminds me of you when you were younger. He's a nice boy. It would be a shame if Chizune comes to have too much of an influence on him. Akira gives an amused snort at her sister's antipathy. She really doesn't seem to regard it as anything to make a serious fuss about, treating it more like a childhood spat. More than likely is. But, I guess it turned into something. And I really hope we get some sort of, explanation as to why they hate each other, because I kind of want to resolve that, because it kind of annoys me that, like, I don't know, it's bad. She looks over to me, apparently only just remembering that I'm here, and gives a small grin as she reaches toward her back pocket. What is it? Just a sec, let me dig it out. After quite some difficulty, she managed to retrieve her black leather wallet from her back pocket, quickly fishing out what looks to be a folded square of paper. With Lily all but unaware of what's happening, Akira unfolds the scrap and hands it to me. Oh, it's a picture of, Lily and, Shizune. I'm guessing that girl in the middle is going to be important as well. I'm guessing. An old photo of what looks like to be a younger Lily and Shizune operating a noodle stall with some other girl in the background. She looks vaguely familiar, but I can't pinpoint why. Yeah, that girl's definitely going to be important later. What is it? What is it, Akira? I think you know. Lily mulls this over for a few moments before realization dawns on her. Akira, you really need it. It's fine, isn't it? Besides, it's like the only photo I have of you two since you entered Yamaku where you're not at each other's throats. I look back down on the photo in my hand. It does seem strange to see Lily and Chizune working together so diligently without any sign of animosity. If the photo of them is during Yamaku's festival, that means it must have taken 1 or 2 years ago. In other words, the time when they were both in the student council together. Oh! I'm guessing that something happened on the student council and, like, it was bad and it caused them to have a falling out. Not a serious enough falling out where Akira is like, don't talk about it or something like that. But I'm guessing it has something to do with that girl in the middle. Because, like, there's no reason why they would put so much detail on that one girl in the background and not have her be important. Who's the girl in the back? She looks kind of familiar. Huh, I know you wouldn't recognize her. It's Misha before she went and dyed her hair pink. Oh my god! That's Misha? Jesus. Why'd you dye your hair pink? Jesus Christ! I see it now, the face. But, like, it's so weird. Like, I did not know that was Misha. I'm like, wow. Wow. Like, not only that, but her hairstyle was completely different back then. She dyed it pink and then started curling, and I'm like, wow. That's Misha? No way. It feels extremely strange to see Misha without her so very distinctive hairstyle. Judging from Akira's tone, she doesn't take favorably to Misha's idea of fashion. I suppose that fact just accentuates how odd the situation looks. To think they were so friendly in the past. I wish I could do something to mend their relationship. You're being very quiet, Hisao. It just feels kind of strange to see you all so friendly like this. Lily moves to say something, but stops herself. In the end, it isn't a matter for me. It's between Shizune and Lily, and nobody else. Things change, unfortunately. I hand the photo back to Akira, who sighs as she folds it up and slides it back into her wallet. A little memory quietly hidden away, to be pulled out again sometime later. Yeah, that they do. Initially, I think Akira's reaction to simply be in response to the situation between Lily and Shizune, but she looks oddly glum compared to what I'd expect. Lily's expression has clouded as well. What's wrong? It's just that I'll be going to Scotland fairly soon. You're leaving for Scotland again? For a long moment, Akira looks surprised. It's an ill-fitting expression for her. After a glance at Lily, she turns back at me as she'd never done so. Yeah, in a couple of weeks I'll be leaving for Inverness to work at the company's headquarters. It's a pretty big jump in a corporate position, and it's not a chance it's going to come again. So Akira's going to leave Japan on what seems to be a permanent basis. I can't help feeling that my assumption that we could all be happily while our days away while having fun in this isolated little world is coming to an end. It's unsettling. I look at Lily, mildly surprised that she hasn't told me such a thing, despite usually being so forthcoming. Well, more than likely, she just couldn't. Because she doesn't, like, in all honesty, based on how close they are, it's probably hard for her to come to terms with, hey, I'm not going to be able to see my sister as regularly as I could. And not only that, but she couldn't see her sister regularly anymore as it is. Because, one, they don't live in the same house anymore. Two, Akira is very busy with her work. And three, she can't. And, like, they lived together for such a long time as children that, like, I guess it's hard. You can never really fully come to terms with the fact that, hey, I'm not going to see this person for a long time. And I know I'm not going to see this person for a long time. Goodbyes are hard. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to say that. Goodbyes are hard. And it's not easy to swallow it because you never know when you're going to see that person again. You never really know. She continues to walk with her face fixedly pointed ahead. I can't read her expression, nor can I even guess what's on her mind, which is discomforting given how it's usually easy for me to do both. It reminds me of the time when we met at Shanghai, just before what could be called our first date. At the time, all I could do was comfort her without knowing the cause, and now it feels no different. Such a shame. As we finally reach the school's dormitories once again, there's a somewhat awkward silence. I don't think I'm the only one who feels it. See you tomorrow then, Lily. Bye, Akira. Good night, Hisao. See ya. And with that, they walk into the female dormitories. Opening the door to the male dormitories, I stop and look back at them just moments before their figures disappear behind the heavy wooden door. Said that on one breath, that was not a good idea. That was a strange moment when Akira said she was leaving. While that wasn't the first time when my thoughts regarding my new life have been called into question, it's perhaps the first time to do it quite so profoundly. I still don't know what to make of Akira's reaction, much less of Lily's. The night's chill reminds me to get back to my room before I catch something, my bags pulling out my arms with seemingly redoubled weight. If nothing else, I have a date with her set up for the weekend. I just need to stop overthinking stuff and get on with the things as they are. The exams are still ongoing, after all, and with the trimesters and the summer holidays beginning soon, there'll be plenty to keep me busy for a while. As I give a yawn and retreat inside, my thoughts turn to what Lily will decide to set as a location of our weekend rendezvous. Fancy dining. Fancy schmancy dining. I approve. Fancy. I'm pretty sure this is about the last thing I had in mind when Lily said she'd decide where to have our date. No man nor woman is dressed in anything but their finest, their formality only matched by that of their surroundings. Rich red wallpaper adorns the walls as the city lights far below flicker and glow. Combined with the ambient hum of quiet speech and the high-pitched clattering of cutlery and wine glasses, the mood is very formal, yet relaxed enough for me not to feel too uptight, despite this being our first real date. Once we get seated, our waiter leaves to attend to the others with a quick bow, after an appreciative nod from Lily. Far from depending on my help, Lily's managed to navigate herself around surprisingly easy so far, despite the unfamiliar environment, a light brush here and there, and she's generally quite deft at orienting herself as needed. Damn, girl, you look good. Nice dress. That's quite sexy. Yes. It's so funny how it could be fun and light going with sexy stuff when there's no sex involved. My eyes look to Lily's, as I can tell from her face that she's listening to her surroundings just as hard as I am looking. Though, truth be told, her eyes are lingering on her each time they sweep across the room. The red cheongsam she's wearing accentuates her figure very well and shows off her legs, even her hair is done up, and the scent of perfume is just noticeable. I have no idea how to properly pronounce this, but I know it's a Chinese dress, I believe. Let me look that up real quick because I'm curious. But I think it is Chinese in origin. Yeah, it's Chinese, I think. Yeah, it's Chinese, which is awesome. While my black suit may be a rental, I managed to select an appropriate one. It feels surprisingly comfortable considering I've so rarely worn one, and it fits the setting just as well as Lily's attire. Ah, the joy of rental suits. I know that feeling. I've been to 2 proms in my life. They're both with my ex-girlfriend. They were nice. At her prom, she wore a salmon-colored dress that I wore, like the typical 3-piece suit, and the vest was the same color. And at my prom, I think I wore something akin to like blue. Yeah. I guess this is a new experience for both of us then. She turned somewhat sheepish. I've never come to a place such as this before, no. Ah, look at the face, she looks so cute. One hell of a first date, that's for sure. It's gonna be pretty hard for me to top this. A small giggle, even now, our nervousness is dissipating. Her hand skates along the center of the table until it touches the menu, which she takes in both hands and brings to her face. Hisao? As she lowers the beige, laminated sheet just below her eyes, I can see another sheepish look. I doubt asking the waiter for a menu in Braille would be productive. I can read it out for you, no problem. I take mine and give it a quick read, my small grin faltering. Perhaps there is. What's wrong? There are quite a few items on here, and I'm not completely sure how to pronounce a couple of them. One fine cuisine after another is listed. Most may be Japanese, but a few are in English and French. I guess it's to be expected, but I have no idea what's in some of these. Oh, this one I recognize. Wait, hang on. You can cook that? A small giggle of amusement comes from behind the paper sheet. Well, I could read them out loud, but it'd take a few hours. Is there anything with some kind of fish in it? Let's see. No. Aren't those poisonous? No. They eat that stuff? No. Ah, here we go. A tuna salad seems to be a good bet. From the picture, it looks like it'd be pretty filling as well. That seems to be a reasonably safe option. Let's order 2 then. I'm pretty sure a couple of these dishes are from poisonous animals. I've heard enough deadly run-ins for now. Lily maintains a smile, but there's a distinct lack of laughter. Black humor mustn't be her cup of tea, though to be honest, I don't find it exceedingly funny either. There are certainly quite a few interesting smells wafting about. The same is true of the sights, I assume. I've never been anywhere quite like this, a fancy Japanese tea house on an occasion or two, but never anything this lavish nor European in styling. Before another word can be said, a portly waiter in a distressingly tight vest appears at our table to take our orders. Provincial tuna salad Please, 2. I hope I didn't mess up the pronunciation of that too badly. Even if it did, it doesn't show it. And may I have a glass of Chardonnay, please, Hisao? Oh, and, the same. As the waiter nods and leaves, I suddenly realize what I said by absent-mindedly mimicking Lily's answer. I regret it pretty quickly. Alcohol. Only a bit. Oh, look at the pouty face! Look, she's so cute. And Chardonnay is honestly not that much. I've had some in the past. It's not that bad. It's pretty light, in all honesty. And I do say I love it, although the Chardonnay I had was very cheap. I've had cheap wine in the past too, but it doesn't affect me as much. I'm a pretty hefty guy, so alcohol doesn't affect me as quickly as other people. This girl has an odd propensity to getting hooked on things, I swear. Surprising that they didn't ask for identification. Then again, I guess we both do look mature for our age. I'll have to take your word for it. I'll add that this isn't what I'd call the type of place to ask such things, though. Good point. We both relax a little into our seats, trying to take our minds off the choking formality of the surroundings. As soon as we do, the same waiter reappears at our table with 2 empty glasses and a bottle, the contents of which are quickly and professionally poured into the former. Damn! I kinda want some now. Whatever, I'll just drink my water. I'm not sure how long this is gonna last, but I'm almost at time, so let's see how long I can make this go. We both nod politely as he leaves, Lily taking her glass and gently moving it from side to side. The liquid inside glistens as it moves around in the glass, and I have to admit, it makes me a little less regretful for ordering the same. I guess it must take effort to judge how the liquid inside is acting based on only its center of balance. Maybe it's like her origami, taking every little chance to practice her dexterity. I guess I'm not surprised that you know about a place like this. Those who have money would, I suppose. This reminds me of just how completely different our upbringings were. In Yamaku, it's easy to forget about social and economic disparity between students all wearing the same uniforms, living in the same dormitories. Very true! On college campuses, you tend to forget that some people are in better economic standing than others. I know, because I'm in a fairly better economic standing than other students on campus. I know this for sure. Well, Akira was the one to tell me of it. She's come here before, apparently. So that's where they were conspiring about on Friday, and you chastised me for cheating? That's not cheating, it's simply making use of personal contacts. If you say so, still I get the feeling that you're more familiar with this kind of restaurant than I am. She pauses a moment, a wistful look on her face, before softly smiling. The compliment seemed to brighten her mood. You can't thank my former school for You can thank my former school for that. If I were to appear any less, they'd be gravely disappointed. Sorry, I'm burping. She has mentioned before her previous schooling, but now I'm kind of curious. She seems to think a lot about her past, so I don't see any problem in asking. What was it like? It was a prestigious all-girl and Catholic. Oh! These facts made my parents choose it for me. Many wealthy families send their daughters there. Very true. For some reason, people think private schooling is a lot better than public schooling. For the most part, their statistics are pretty even. I mean, Catholic schooling gets all its funding from tuition fees, and public schooling gets its funding from the state. So the only difference there is that like more students to a private school, meaning the school has more money. But like, I don't know. In my opinion, they're both the same. I've been to both. I went to public schooling as a child, and then I went to private schooling as a child. I went to public schooling later on. In all honesty, it did not change. I mean, the atmosphere and the students that went there changed, but in all honesty, we all end up in the same place anyway. From how it sounds, life there must be pretty strict. I wouldn't say it was a bad experience, but you're quite right. It was very strict. Thankfully, I managed to adapt well enough and make a number of friends. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for my sister. She found the atmosphere and religious aspect suffocating, and ended up leaving for a job as soon as she was able to. Same for me. Personally, I'm not a very religious person, and it does annoy me when religion is thrown into it so heavily. But anyway, I'm gonna have to end this part here. I'm going way over time, and I think this date's gonna last a while. I should have ended at the cut before, but hey, I am sorry. I wanted to see the date. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you liked this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more videos from me or from this series, hit that subscribe button. And you are now exiting the Shadyverse. My name is Shades, and I hope you've enjoyed your day in the shade. See y'all later.